Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot. Hey, what's up, Giants fan? Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. I'm Mike. That's Jules. That's John. We are back again. The guys, they got all their fingers, so I assume no, tragic firework accident like a JPP and shit from fucking years ago. So it looks like everybody's safe, and I hope you guys are too, the listeners. Guys, what is up, man? What's on tap tonight, Jules?
Yo, listen, we got definitely a lot of Giants things to talk about. With maybe we have that segment going that we talk about a couple of players specifically, one that may be kind of flying under the radar and one guy that's got to really kind of step up this coming year. A little bit more talk about the rankings and CBS calling out some sleepers, a couple of teams in there that are definitely going to surprise people. And also, we didn't forget, we will get to some of our nicknames for what we could call the secondary unit. Well, before we get into that, I kind of wanted to talk about the weekend, man. It was fun, bro. And it like literally kind of capped off today, right? Because my 4th of July weekend started and then sort of kind of ended today in a way because of the soccer that's been on. And it's been incredible to watch. You find these bars, man, and I don't care, even here in New York, that are just fucking going crazy. Let me put it to you this way. I tried this place called Banter, Banter in Williamsburg, right? And I'm getting in, I'm like, yo, man, this game's at 3:00. It's Friday. I get it's 4th of July weekend, but you never know, right? Like, is this bar going to be good, right? And, literally, Italy almost scores in the first, 7 minutes. I'm running a little late for the kickoff of the match. And I can hear them cheering from, 3 blocks away, this bar. Like, the place is going nuts. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? So I get up there, and it's, jam-packed outside, packed inside. I was like, I didn't even know what to do. I just kind of sneak in a way. And I get to the end of the bar. And just by fucking random luck chance, there's an empty stool there. And this other guy is just sitting there. And I didn't say nothing to him. He didn't say nothing to me. And the manager walks over. He's like, can I help you? So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what kind of things you have on tap? Like, no. I started this whole conversation. Meanwhile, the dude was really going to ask me if I had a reservation or not. And I didn't even know this shit. I was like, yeah, I'm sitting right here. And I just looked at the guy again. He didn't say nothing. So I was like, all right, I'm good. I sit down and start bullshitting when it turned out that he was expecting a friend and they didn't show up or they canceled on him last minute. So that seat was available. But you literally had to make reservations at the bar.
That's
to
crazy.
Watch this match. That's how
sounds like Jules found his soulmate.
Yo, I mean, he wasn't talking about luck, right? And so I ended up watching the match there, and I was pretty much done after that shit. But then,
the question is, did you go home with him?
Yeah, I thought about it. You know what I mean? He knew a lot about soccer, so it was kind of cool. It's like, yo, you listen to Giants? He's like, no. I was like, all right, we can't.
He's done. Yeah.
I've definitely seen at least 6 or 7 movies start off like that. One person gets a day canceled, the other person just shows up by themselves, and then, happily ever after.
Just like an Harry Met
Sally. I mean, he did say the date was with a lady, so I don't know if he really would have wanted to go home with me.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And the reason why I brought that up is because Italy won a great fucking match today in the semifinals against Spain in a shootout. For those soccer fans that are out there, you boys out in the UK, I know you watch that shit. You got a big match tomorrow with Denmark and England. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on that shit because that coming Sunday. Let me just tell everyone, you might not be a soccer fan, but, especially if you're in New York listening or a few other places around the world and the rest of this country, that match should be fun, especially if England pulls it out tomorrow. It'll be in England. It'll be the first time that they've been in a final like that on their home soil since 1966, which was the last time it was the World Cup. So they'll be fucking going wild. Italy didn't even make the World Cup the last time out, so they're out to fucking prove this fucking that they're back and shit. And then the World Cup is next year. So this game, this Euro was supposed to take place last year because of COVID. It never did. So now it's that much closer to World Cup, and you're going to see some of these teams in the final. So it's just a cool match. It's in the middle of a Sunday afternoon. So if you're barbecuing, just chilling, throw the fucking thing on for a couple hours and watch it, man. You'll get into it a little bit, especially if you watch it out somewhere because there's a lot of crowds that support this shit.
I had Spain winning the whole thing, so I'm out in that fucking bracket. That sucks.
Shoot, that shootout was insane.
Man.
Oh, man.
What about you, John? How was your 4th of July weekend, man? What'd you end up doing?
My 4th of July weekend was one for the books, actually.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Saturday night I actually proposed. I am officially engaged.
Wow. Congratulations. There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was fun, and we got it. Did it Saturday night. Her parents and her brother and his family were going to my parents' house for 4th of July, along with a bunch of cousins, aunts, and uncles, and stuff like that. So I told her after, I was like, listen, we cannot tell anybody until tomorrow, meaning Sunday. So kind of kept it a secret from the family until Sunday, and when everybody was together, we kind of all in one shot. I slipped her the ring, and she was just kind of like brushing her hair or whatever with the ring in her hand. Then her mom saw it, and then everybody started flipping out. So it was a pretty cool moment for the family. But yeah, that was Saturday, Sunday afternoon. Sunday night, I had a ridiculous amount of fireworks, so we were shooting those shits off for a while. All the neighbors came outside, so that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, that's always a great time.
Yeah, but I'm an engaged man now.
Look at that! Oh boy.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, somebody's got to be engaged on this show.
Well, she got a ring, and now like hopefully the Giants are gonna get one.
It's fucking right. It's an omen, bro. It's an omen.
We're starting the ring ceremony early.
Eli's gonna get his ring this year, be in the ring of whatever.
Ring of Honor. Yeah. Oh man,
So,
maybe I should have waited for that.
That's a trifecta.
I want to do it.
I'll tell you that's the only one thing I'm lucky about is I used to love doing what you did, John, where like at the end on 4th of July, like you need to have a whole bunch of fireworks, hang out on the block, and everybody just kind of comes out and watches it. And I hadn't done that in so long, but my neighborhood thankfully is like crazy with this shit. So all I do is I go on the top of my roof, and you see fireworks from all different parts of the building. It's crazy, and you're kind of up, so like you get like that sort of bird's eye view with the fireworks. It's pretty chill.
Yeah. I got almost eye level.
That was all right. I don't mind.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
I used to be a little pyromaniac back in the day. Like when I was like in my teens, man, I would light off more shit than I knew what to do with that. Like my thumb would be burning by the end of the night.
Turn to Shapiro.
Shit. All right, guys. So listen, I guess we got to move on to the nicknames. All right, and I heard some good ones. I heard some shit being shouted out there, and because I brought it up. It was crazy because I thought of a couple of things. I was trying to come up with like something super creative. I was trying to come up with like something maybe military based, and Air Force One or some shit. Man, I couldn't come up with nothing. This stupid one, well, it's not that bad, but it just kept coming back. Like when you just can't get like a song out of your head. I could get this one out. So Jules will throw it out first. I'll throw it first out there. My nickname for the Giants 2021 secondary will be the Big Blue SWAT Crew. That's what I'm throwing out there, guys. All right, Big Blue SWAT Crew. Who wants to go next?
So I used to say I never ever liked the NYPD nickname. I don't know what it was. It just kind of always just felt off to me. Like it would have worked if, let's say, they never used it with Landon Collins, Jenkins, all that shit, and then they did it for this secondary now. I feel a little more comfortable about it, but the whole recycling the nickname for like a failed fucking secondary that was good for 1 year, I don't really like it. But I was saying I liked black and blue just because it sounded pretty cool. I know Mike you put that in the group text, but I was saying that like last year, or maybe even longer ago than that. That was a pretty cool nickname. But Mike, you have a phenomenal one.
I do.
Before we get this away, you're gonna go with black and blue?
Yeah, I mean that was what I was.
Or something maybe. No.
That's the poll. That's the new poll question.
Black and blue. All right, let's go. Black and blue. And then Mike's is coming up. Mike, should we take a quick commercial break before we drop yours?
Drop a little teaser right there. All right, I'll drop a little.
You know what? I think we suspend that one for a minute, just because John gave me the fucking perfect build up on it.
All right,
I'm gonna switch my answer too. When we get back.
Bet you can't wait to hear it. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back. So we have the nickname coming up. Jules, your nickname was the Big Blue SWAT Crew.
That's right.
And John,
I like to try to rhyme, Big Blue SWAT Crew coming through,
I kind of like it, man. I'm kind of feeling that one, man. It's definitely has that in my head. I know it'll be in my head.
It's definitely a play off of a couple of names. I know that, right? I understand where people come back with that. I understand, but give me a little more time. I'll get more creative as we get closer to the season.
Well, John went the other creative route. He just went with all colors because he loves colors. He's like black and blue.
Actually, I want to change that to the New York skyline.
The New York. Oh, that's from last week. The New York.
Yeah,
Skyline.
I like that
You
nickname.
know, we'll just throw it in as
I
a
like
fourth
yours
option.
more, but I like that nickname.
So
But if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down with the one that I came up with.
All right,
This
or
year.
just add it into the poll, man. We could have 4 slots up
Yeah,
there.
we
could
got
have
4
4.
spots. Let's throw that one in. I get the 4th spot.
The
My
more
odds of winning
nicknames,
are just increased by 17%.
So we were in a group text, earlier this afternoon. I was just throwing out random names. I think I came out with like 5 names, and then one kind of like stuck. It kind of got the guy's attention. So the name I came up with was "No Soup for You."
That's fucking great.
That's
like from Seinfeld.
So yeah, tied in, right, John, from Seinfeld, New York. It's the Giants. You're not gonna get any completions against us. No soup for you. Cause I could see that being like, not only the nickname, but the motto. People yelling that at their TVs when we make picks, when we swat everything down. No soup for you. It's gonna be nonstop.
Bro, we should make
every Sunday.
Yeah, we gotta make the T-shirts for that.
And like you see one of them like looking like they're eating, and the other dude just comes out like smacks his head and said, like,
right out their mouth, right out their fucking mouth. No soup for you.
Just go snatch the fucking bowl. That's it.
So that is going to be on the poll this time. So
that's 100% it, man. That's the one. No soup for you. We're gonna have all 4 of them. So it's Big Blue SWAT Crew, Black and Blue, New York Skyline, and No Soup for You. That's going to be on the polls. And just a quick shout out to the Facebook group. I've been a little lax. That's what happens around this time of the year with me with the summer. It's a little hard for me to kind of stay indoors. So I'm not on the internet as much as I normally would be with doing Facebook shout outs. But definitely keep in mind as we get closer to the season, and of course with camp and everything getting ready to start in a couple of weeks, you will be seeing a lot more tweets, a lot more Facebook stuff. You know where to catch us at the BBOMYG on Twitter. All right. We're going to start setting up some links within there too. Maybe link up the Facebook page in there so it'll be a lot easier to access it from the Twitter account. But definitely keep an eye out for more tweets from all of us. All right. So that's just something I just wanted to throw out there. But in the meantime, we definitely want to see some action on those polls. All right. We want to hear what you guys think is the best so far for the group name for the secondary for 2021.
Come on, ladies, get on the poll, man. Get on the poll.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm gonna while we do this, I'm gonna put this poll up because I can't wait to just get this out to the world.
We're in the middle of session. We're just gonna throw that shit up. It's like, fuck it, it's going up now.
That's it.
So we're gonna leave it up for a couple of days and see what the results are. Right. So that's what that is.
We also got to do a live show one time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's
the fuck up staying.
Definitely am down for that, man. That's gonna be fun. Definitely when we get closer. Maybe like one of the first preseason games.
Yeah, maybe.
Live show right
if it's on, yeah.
You know what I mean? And we'll kind of do like we did for the draft. You guys didn't catch that. You can always go back and look at our draft because there's plenty of things to be able to make fun of us about, especially in that first round. I definitely dropped out a lot of tweets in the second and third round that you can make fun of me about. I still get shit said to me regarding that type of shit. So I'll just let you know about that ahead of time. We will definitely be drinking because probably it'll be like on a Friday or something like that. So, True. Our shows only get a little liver when that happens.
Hey, maybe we'll play the NFL draft next week since we're taking a little vacation next week, us three. Not together. We're all going our separate ways. But you never know, man. Maybe we do take a vacation to a Giant game in the future on the road because we have to represent the Big Blue Offensive Podcast.
Yo, and
all states.
Yeah.
So what is next in line, Jules? What's the next topic?
Man, getting into a couple of things. I was reading this article, and I'm always catching 1 or 2 a week. That'll be like my entertainment while I'm like going somewhere in between doing things. Or probably just taking a shit on a toilet bowl. I'll be honest. That's how I do a lot of these fucking article things. And one came up, and again, it was kind of similar to what we were talking about, last week with a couple of guys in the secondary being ones that need to step up, and or guys that look, this is your year, or else what are we going to do with this guy, right? And 2 kind of guys fall into that. One that I think should be under the radar a little bit more, and I think that they're sort of, kind of pumping up the fact that he's automatically going to be the starter, which is fine, but they're putting a lot of pressure on him, and I don't think that Gazdou really necessarily has to be that guy this year. And the other guy is, because he's in that year where he, we don't necessarily have to re-sign him, and if he doesn't step up, then we're probably going to have to go elsewhere. And we're talking about the offensive line here, guys. All right. And one of the guys we're talking about is Peart. And the other guy we're talking about is Hernandez, right? And these are going to be two names that you're going to hear this year that, depending on how well they step up this year, or maybe not need to, because I'll get into that in a moment, that's going to really kind of determine, be the ultimate determining factor on what this O-line and the rest of this offense is going to really look like. Because like we always say, if you can't win in the trenches, you ain't going to win at all, right? And with that said, I think we should start with Hernandez, because he's the dude that's kind of under the scope, right? You know, and he's the guy that, look, man, in all honesty, if he don't step up this year, I don't see him being, I don't even know if the Giants will keep him next year. He's kind of at that point now. If he has a very disappointing year, he could be a guy that needs to be replaced, especially now that he's switching over to that right guard position. But on the flip side to that, and here's a good thing, right? You know, he had a pretty decent rookie year. He was up and down. He got hurt last year. You know, I shouldn't say hurt. He had COVID last year, which definitely affected the way that he played, you know, coming back from it. I mean, look, I saw a lot of different athletes come back from COVID. They weren't the same for a couple of weeks, and it absolutely took them a little bit to get going. I mean, you know, there was definitely a few cases of that. So, you know, being in a system, not having a new system rather, not having a preseason, offensive lineman coach going in and out the door, you know, I think as a unit, there was a little bit of things that were out of place, you know, and this year I don't see it being that way. And there's already talk going on that Hernandez has been training very hard with one of Rob Sale's close associates. He's slimmed down. He's looking good. He's all excited to learn this right guard position. He looks a lot more natural on the right side. So, look, this could be a really good thing. This could be a year where, you know, he's under that microscope with Barkley and Daniel Jones and the rest of them, where he's going to have to take that next step. What are you guys thinking of Hernandez here?
I mean, I want to see both those fucking guys win the job. I think everybody wants to see both them win the job. Because if they don't win the job, and then all of a sudden, then the questions start piling, like, oh, like, we're in trouble now. Like, who do we have as backup? You know, is a guy like Zach Fulton going to come in, step up, and go into one of the guards, you know, position? Is like Kenny Wiggins there? Is Kyle Murphy the guy? Like, you know, the list goes on and on with the backup. So you kind of want them to win it, you know, immediately and no questions, and then run with the group that you're going to have from the very, you know, first preseason game all the way to the start of the season. Because once you start like seeing different lineups and, you know, you don't get that continuity, and you don't want that going into the first game of the year. You want that line set. Hernandez, like Jules, is that really true? Is Shane Lemieux going to play left guard, and they're really moving Hernandez to right guard? Is that like a fact?
I mean, that's everything I've been reading so far this offseason, that he is 100% moving to the right side. Like that, I know there was a whole talk about rotating and different mentions of, you know, perhaps like some other guys working in, but at this point in time, they're saying he's going to move. They're going to move him to the right side. Now, You got to keep in mind too that this wasn't a draft pick of the, you know, the Judge and Garrett team, you know, so. Yeah. You know, there's, you know, like I don't want to say he's expendable, because we really do hope that he's going to be there, because if not, then we might have some trouble up front with the O-line. And I don't want to have to go through another season of that kind of nonsense. So I really do want this guy to be the thing. But you know what? If that's what they're seeing, I mean, look, you know how it is. It's still so early. Maybe they're trying him out right guard now. They're in OTAs and off field, off premise practicing and everything else, where they're just trying to get a feel to see how he moves, how he looks. He's in shape. He's looking out. He's working out better. You know, he's saying he's in the best shape of his life. You know, they might just be trying it. And who knows, by the time we get through minicamp and all that kind of shit, he can be right back on the left side, you know. And it could just be a way where he's going to sort of be versatile and be able to play both sides. Dude, I'm not sure. But as of right now, that's what I've been reading. So maybe it's a little bit of breaking news. Maybe it's not. But yeah, you know,
but that's
what they've been saying.
The shock in that is, like, you know, is Lemieux, are they so confident in him playing left guard on his blind side? That's kind of like a little shocking to me. I'm like, listen, if they are, great, but I mean, I'm a little worried. I mean, but I mean, that's just me.
Right. I think what it came down to is Shane Lemieux is the younger player, and he played left. They both played left guard for, I guess, their whole entire college careers, and obviously they were switching them out last year. So I guess it's easier. Maybe it's easy. They think it's easier for Shane Lemieux to kind of grow as a player, sticking with the left side, while, you know, obviously Will Hernandez has 3 seasons under his belt at this point. Maybe they feel like he's, you know, a professional football player enough where he can make the change and the team be okay still, without having to basically start a rookie, you know, I'll basically start like a rookie all over again, where it's a new position for a second-year player who's a 5th-round pick. Will Hernandez is a 2nd-round pick, and he's got a few more seasons under his belt. Side note, my screen froze again, so I'm looking at the two of you guys as if you're still pictures. So
Nice.
whenever I'm done, I'm gonna X out. I'm gonna join back in after.
Hopefully,
We'll just do it slick so no one knows.
Did you get my good side on that one?
right. I'm hoping it's a flattering picture.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
post
take
that
a
shit. That'll
picture
be my new
actually because
post
it's
page
pretty
right there.
hysterical.
I don't wanna-
We have pretty good pics of Jules in the last couple podcasts.
Oh, that's for damn sure. Especially when I
Yeah.
had my I don't know, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like that's why I keep saying like, could that possibility of like Jonathan Harrison plays the center position, and then they move Nick Gates to a guard position. I mean, that option still got to be on the table.
Yeah,
I know Jonathan Harrison has the experience of playing center, and he was solid with the Jets, so that could be something. Man, I'm definitely interested in watching how that plays out in training camp and OTAs and the first season.
And you know what, this too, Hernandez was always at least when it comes to the guard center positions of what we have on the team currently, he was definitely the bigger talent. He was projected to be the second best guard in that draft when we took him. So there was a lot of hype around him coming out of college. And, you got to think about it. I mean, look at Leonard Williams. I don't want to say busted, but he didn't show up again with the Jets, and then all of a sudden he comes to the Giants and he's this brand new player and he's playing like with all this fire and he's now a star and we sign him to a huge contract. I mean, this shit does happen. Sometimes these guys do take a little time to sort of develop, right? I understand we need to be patient, and a lot of times we're not as fans, right? And with all that said, listen, if he is the more talented guy, which he might be, like, let's say more athletic than Lemieux is, he came in as the bigger name, right, so to speak, definitely the higher draft pick.
Yep.
You know what? It is easier for him to transition to right after Lemieux had been playing left all season, right? Because he's going to be that guy that needs something to prove, and he could stay, maybe he's a little more focused. So he's on that kind of point in his career where it's like, look, if he don't show up this year, he'll end up like in some other team that needs a backup, needs some line depth, and that's what's going to kind of happen to him over the next season or two until he either gets it or doesn't. So, it's a big year for him as well.
I'm just interested to see what happens as a whole with these guys, man. I know Hernandez was like the biggest talent. I mean, but I gotta I'm not really gonna take last year, into consideration that much with the whole COVID and being like a short year. It just seems like everybody was off. You talk about normal everyday people walking around, like their mental head was not there, and you can't take that away from the players going out there. I mean, Ingram had a tough year dropping everything. Hernandez was just kind of fucked up because Hernandez was solid, Jules. He was solid in the past. So I don't understand, you know what I mean? Like that big fall off. Now listen, I mean, the whole fucking team kind of fell off fucking last year, but whatever.
Like I said, Rob Sale being brought in, he's brought in for a reason, and that's now Judge's guy. So he's literally going, and there's a lot of great talk about him developing players. And that's part of the reason why we're able to, have this young team, this young offensive lineman that they believe in. And, it kind of leads us into, talking more about Peart because, not that you forget, but you overlook the fact Peart was taken in the 3rd round.
Right.
And one of the reasons why this guy wasn't a higher round draft pick was literally just because he was quote unquote what they call raw, right? He had all this, tons of ability and all this kind of, talent, but yet he was still a little raw and he played over at UConn, right? And, but we still had to spend a 3rd round draft pick on this guy. It's not like, I mean, listen, don't forget people going fucking crazy over 3rd round draft picks a couple of years ago during the draft.
It's not like
he's one of those things, right? So
it's not like it's a 7th rounder. What the fuck?
Right. It's not like this dude is like one of those unrestricted free guys that you pick up at the end of the draft either. You know what I mean? This dude was taken in the 3rd round for a reason, and it was pretty damn clear that he wasn't going to be a day one starter last season. I mean, that's fucking clear as day, right? And now you bring in Rob Sale. You have Solder now who's going to be back. Now, what do you think Solder's going to do if he's not starting and he wanted to be and have that veteran presence on this team? His thing was, he's like, look, I got a hell of a lot of experience. Maybe I'm a little up there in age. Maybe my talents have diminished slightly. But, man, I played in big games. I know I played with Tom Brady. I know what's up. And I can show these young tackles a couple of things. I could teach them the ropes. I could see if they're doing something. I could see some of their mechanics. It's sort of like someone that could be there. And then when they might be having a bad game, when they need a blow, you got him that can kind of slide in there at any point and help these guys out, right? Because even like Solder maybe coming in for, say, 30% of the offensive plays on either left or right tackle, primarily right. That might not be a terrible thing. You're not asking this guy to have to grind the whole entire game. He goes in there, fresh legs, a fresh body, fresh mind. Yeah, he's not going to get knocked around. You know what I mean? He's going to be able to knock other guys around that have been playing 3/4 of football already. So it's just going to add to it. And that's why I think that Peart will probably be able to take that next step this year. Again, like I said, 3rd round pick, but it's not like he has the same sort of pressures that Hernandez does. And as long as he can improve, I already feel like we have an upgrade over that right tackle position from last year. Right.
Dude, I'm hoping he actually fucking wins the job, man. I mean, I'm not really low on like Nate Solder anyway. Like, I actually like him. I actually think in a way it might even be better for Matty P if, if Nate wins the job, like right away, they play him for the experience, and then Matty P kind of learns from him, learns the position more and more, and then eventually takes over later on. I think that would be solid.
And that's
what I'm back.
What up? We got John back. We lost him. We lost him visually, but he's back.
Yeah, I was in fucking Narnia for a couple minutes. I just figured I'd call in from my cell phone. That way, it just kept kicking me out. So, fuck it. I'm back.
Hey, it's okay. You can admit to the listeners that you had to take a big dump and you had to run off the air real quick. It's all right.
Yeah.
That's it. Like number two calls. Number 2 calls at all different times of the day. We understand this.
It sure does, man. Let me tell you, it called me one time. Like, I was just about to get to work. I was about 5 minutes from there. I'm like, it's going to be a close call. As soon as I think I parked my car and I ran in. I just made it in time. But I tell you, man, my car might have been still rolling. I have no idea. Just a quick little story about taking a shit. But yeah, like John, we were talking about like, Matty P and, trying to win the job. Like if he's going to be able to win it, is Nate Solder going to be the guy on the right side? We don't waste, time on a 3rd round pick. I mean, maybe you give him a year to learn, and then the second year you probably should start him if he's, drafted that high and can play. So I'm on the fence with that, man. What do you think? Do you think they should start Nate and give let Matty P learn from him a little bit and get the experience, or just throw him right to the wolves?
I think on a case-by-case basis, you can go either way. I think with what Nate Solder showed us his last year playing football, it makes you a little uneasy as to what he can bring to the table. And I think the combination of that with what Matt Peart did, Matt Peart, however his name, what he did on the field in his rookie year as a 3rd round pick with no offseason, I'm not going to go out there and say he was, shocked the world or anything like that, but he played very good ball, as well as you could hope that a 3rd round pick could come out of UConn and play with no offseason. He did that. So I think with his promise and Nate Solder's question marks, because he's 2 years removed from playing football, and 3 years removed from playing decent football, I think you want to develop the young guy, and the only way to really develop is on the field. So I would say, if it was up to me, I would definitely feel more comfortable going with Matty P over Solder. I honestly, now that I'm kind of fleshing it out, I think I would be a little bit nervous if it was Solder starting over Matt Peart, because that means that he didn't win the job out of training camp, and you're your 2nd year in the league, and you can't beat Matt Peart playing. You can't beat Nate Solder, who's over 30, hasn't played good ball in 3 years, and is switching positions. That's not a good sign for a UConn Husky over there.
Let's hope it all works out. But shout out to Nate Solder for taking that huge pay cut just to stay with us and be a possible backup, So shout out to him, man. Hopefully he comes back strong and healthy and could help us in some way.
Yeah, well, even like I said, even if it's off the field, or sometimes it's good just to have these young guys be pushed. John was saying right now, saying, look, if he can't beat them out, this and that, right? If Matt Peart starts thinking that way, right, he starts actually sitting back and saying to himself, shit, I can't beat out 33-year-old Nate Solder. What the hell am I doing? Right? You know, like it gives you that extra motivation. You focus harder in practice. You're doing later film studies. You know, you're hitting the gym. You're doing an extra couple of reps. You know, all that shit starts to push you. And what better way than ever push a guy who's 6'7", 318 pounds? You know what I'm saying? Like he's a big man, bro. Like there's no joking about it. Like, yeah, you're gonna have him and Thomas. They're like two twin towers on the ends. You know, like these dudes can just get this shit down right. Like, come on, man.
Once they
the hell
learn,
would you want, you know, protecting your blind side of your front side? Who think dudes like that? What are you crazy?
Yeah, that's pretty exciting to have, man. Fucking a right tackle, a left tackle for the next 10 years. Man, that's
out of
sweet.
the same draft.
Yeah, out of the same fucking draft. Pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, and think about it, right? The same draft, you took one guy in the first round, you took the other guy in the third round. Literally, you took one other fucking player in between. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like. And there must have been something there, you know, like and that's just kind of shouting out to the like, you know, fans that are listening and everything else that were like, man, we didn't take any old linemen. What the fuck are we doing? Oh my God. Remember how we went through that whole shit a couple months ago? And you know, you start to see this as it's getting closer. And you start to say, it's like, shit, maybe we could have used the guard. Maybe, right? Like, and I'm gonna just kind of keep that maybe there. That's the only position. But if Hernandez can now play, and they're confident enough to have a Lemieux or some sort of combination at left. And these two big boys step up on the ends. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you know, you're gonna start seeing this be a big time offensive line. I mean, look, I don't know if we're gonna be top 3, but you know, if things go right, we could definitely be in the top 15.
That's why I always say, like, you need multiple drafts to build a team properly. Not multiple draft picks, but you need multiple drafts because you can't just fix everything in one draft 1 year. It takes a little time. You could fix, like, last year, it looked like we fixed the offensive line with the way we drafted. You know, a couple years ago, we drafted corners. You know, we're trying to fix the secondary. So it's like a process. So we just had to be patient. And now, like, we're here. Like, we're, you know, these guys, I think, are young. They're hungry. It looks like they want to ball for this judge. You know, they want to ball for him. What'd you say, Don?
They're all close too, man. You go, you see like the Instagram stories and stuff, man. These kids aren't just like coworkers; they're friends. They got a little fraternity going on over there, and it feels so special. It's going to be so exciting to watch this team come together, man.
Seems like a college atmosphere in a way, right?
Well, most of them are just about, you know, just out of college age. You know, listen, man. There's a lot of people who take more than 4 years to graduate college. Some people take 5 or 6. These motherfuckers, that's exactly in their time frame. You know, they're still like right around college age, so they still have that kind of mindset, that kind of like, you know, building relationships, building like, you know, your adult self, you know, the people around you, and they're, you know, stuffed into this room together, and you know, there's multiple different ways that can go, and you know, what else can you possibly ask for better than these guys hanging out? Literally, go on Instagram, follow all the guys, go on Instagram every day, and you'll see, you know, these guys hanging out together. Who's here, who's there, you know, surfing and fishing and hunting and this and that. It's just pretty sick, man. Just to say.
It took me 7 years to graduate college, and I'm no doctor.
Is that it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like I was like through college in a way, and then maybe whatever, and it came back, but I didn't finish till like I was like 30.
I try to
obviously I took years off, but I'm just saying.
I try to walk out of college after 4 years. They're like, "Yo, you're not done yet. Like, come back."
Yeah, you're about halfway right now.
We don't know what you were doing half the time, but
oh man, that's funny.
But yo, man, as usual, and maybe I was taking the shit out of fucking. I was reading this other article, right? And it's CBS, you know, because I do all that fantasy shit, like I'm like overly linked to updates for fucking CBS. I don't know about you, Mike. I know you've been doing it for years, and CBS is one of the main like providers for our fantasy leagues. Not that we're promoting it. There's other ones out there, and I want to look up other ones. ESPN's horrible. I'm sorry, I've used it a bunch of times. It sucks. Anybody listening that knows I always complain about that shit.
It's the worst.
The worst. I can't stand that one. But it's free, right? Yeah, there's a reason why it's free. But anyhow, I always get like at least maybe an article or two, like a day almost sent to me. It could be the dumbest shit, and sometimes it's interesting. So of course, I get this one earlier today, and it's like the most underrated teams ahead of the 2021 season. We're gonna list our 4. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, all right, dude, this is from Cody Benjamin, right out in CBS World. And he starts listing these fucking teams. And man, I fucking sit there and of course we're gonna go through this, but like, yo, I just don't get it. All right. And the first one I just want to throw out there really quickly is kind of how stupid this fucking article is, right? And of course, it's not even the number one team that's underrated, right? They're like number fucking 2 on this list, or 3 actually. The Vikings are put in the fucking top of the thing. We'll talk about that in a second.
Wow.
But yo, the number 3 team that he talks about is the Indianapolis Colts. It's like, wait a minute.
The
Are you
Colts.
fucking retarded? Like they had one of the best defenses in the league last year. They were in the top 5, I think.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they got Carson Wentz, which honestly I think might be an upgrade over Phillip Rivers this season. We could talk more about that in a minute, but they have young guys at receiver. They have a great running back that's young. They have one of the best offensive lines in football to go with that defense. They get a run first. They won 11 games. It took everything for the fucking Buffalo Bills to beat them. Okay, right. That game was supposed to be an upset game for them, and the Bills weren't supposed to survive, who actually went on to lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. So that's the Colts. They're undervalued. They're a fucking contending team. Like, I don't even understand this shit. So, you know, like right then and there, I should have stopped reading. But, you know, I like when I read this nonsense because, you know, it's exactly what we talk about and how we go into it over and over and over again, where, you know, these experts, they either try to get your attention, they throw the shock value out there, they do this shit, they do that. But like some of them, I think just don't even make sense to themselves. You know, like they just start to say shit just because it sounds good, or they heard a couple of their buddies in the fucking, you know, lunchroom talking about this shit. Because that's what it sounds like with some of these other teams, right? And just to kind of go through the rest of the list so everybody knows, and I'm going to kind of do it in a mixed order because I want to save the other 2 teams for last. So obviously I mentioned the Vikings. They're sort of like the number 2 team that he goes into talking about. And look, I can kind of see that, you know, they have Justin Jefferson there. You know, they're always just kind of in the mix. They're a pretty decent team all the time. You know, are they ever going to? They were in the playoffs a couple of years ago. You know, they're always there.
They still got Cousins. They still got Cousins there.
Cousins, yeah.
All right, so like it's gonna be the same story.
Right,
he'll fuck up eventually.
And like, you know what it was last year was the Bears and Green Bay. Like it's always 2 teams from that north that are always fighting to get in. They usually do, right? And it looks like that, you know, maybe Minnesota could take Chicago this year. Woo, shocking, right? Like we're really not that much of a fucking, you know, mind-blowing, overvalued fucking team, right?
Right.
And then it gets into our 2 next favorite. And one is obviously because we talk about them on this show all the fucking time, how much we can't stand them. And it's just driving me fucking insane. How many more people are jumping on the bandwagon of the Philadelphia Eagles as being this surprise team, more so than the Giants, more so than fucking some other teams out there. And it's all this, oh, Jalen Hurts, he could fucking run, he could do this, he could ride, he could. What the fuck? I don't get it. Like, like Miles Sanders was hurt last year. They got 2 basically fucking brand new receivers on the outside. One's a rookie, one's in his 2nd season. You know, you don't even know if Ertz is going to stay there anymore, right? And then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, this team is fucking high octane. They're ready to go because of Jalen Hurts. Like, yo, what the? You know, granted, they have a couple of pieces back on defense, and apparently their O-line is a little bit better than it was last year. But come on, guys, for real? And then, of course, the last team, the Denver Broncos, which we nicknamed them Overrated Orange. Guys, come on, come in here, man, with this, man. Like, does this not just get you crazy?
I mean, listen, Denver, like I could see because, you know, they got a really great group of wide receivers and they got a good secondary. So that's going to keep you in ball games. You know, that's why the spread is probably so low in the Giant game. It's just the way it is. Philly, like, I mean, people are really relying on Jalen Hurts. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not too scared. Like, they're just trying to look for the next running quarterback that could also throw. They're hard to find. They don't come around that often. Michael Vick, Kyler Murray, like, you know what I mean? You can't get him every fucking single draft. It just doesn't work that way. So he's a bum. The Eagles will just be pathetic like they usually are. Minnesota, like they got Kirk Cousins. We all know the deal. He'll fucking fold eventually. They'll go like 13-3 or 13-4, whatever it is with the 17 game, and then you know they'll fuck up. And then the Giants will just go in there, handle business, win some ball games, and you know win the division, win the Super Bowl. That's it. I don't like to read these articles, Jules, Like these articles, if it don't have like the Giants being like in a positive light or like #1 on a ranking thing, like I don't read it. Like I think it's fake news. So I just
Dude,
like I
it
look
just
away.
killed me because
I agree.
you had the Eagles there. So I'm like, yo, so they're literally picking the fucking Eagles over us. And then the team that we play week 1 that has the best secondary in the NFL, apparently, right? So like, it's just perfect, because like I said, when we fucking show up and we approve that overrated orange is fucking just that, and we smack them around, yo, then what? Then what? Do we at least pass fucking Philly as being like the third best team in the division? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's why I think I like doing it because I want to like follow these people on Twitter or find them on Facebook and start talking shit to them, or come back and be like, "Yo, remember when you wrote that article? Yeah, I do."
But I think
I understand you probably pump out about
too.
like 35 articles a week and shit, so that this way one of them's gonna fucking work, right? Like a lot of times you just throw all the shit against the wall and whatever sticks. You know what I mean? They're like, all right. See, I called that shit out. Yeah, what about the other 25 fucking things that you weren't even close about? Like it's crazy. And I also think, man, yo, you guys know, also, John, last thing for me. But yo, I'm gonna keep saying it. Like, I really fucking believe that outside of Giants Nation, that everyone else looking in is too fucking afraid to really say what they want to say. They're like, yo, if I jump on it and I say that the Giants are going to be really good this year or win at least 10 games, and they don't, oh, man, I'm an asshole and I was so off with my pick. If they fucking suck and I'm right about them sucking, everybody says that shit. Look, why are they going to, Daniel Jones sucks. Saquon can't stay healthy. They don't have this. They don't have it. The O-line's a huge question mark, right? So that's an easy pick. And then you have the ones that'll just like kind of stay on the middle of the road and be like, well, maybe they'll be, 7-10 or, 8-9. I don't know. Sounds about right. So that when it does happen and we're a month into the season and the Giants are maybe 3-1, let's say, they can start fucking writing up all this shit, being like, yo, this team put it together. Way to go, Judge. Way to go with Dave Gettleman and drafting and all this other bullshit. So I kind of think that a lot of it is predicated on the fact that they're too afraid to really make a bold prediction with this New York Giants team. I don't know.
I think Mike Greenberg did. He said that the Giants are going to be his dark horse team for this season, saying that I don't know about for the Super Bowl. I think just a team that could make the playoffs that no one's expecting to come good. I think the article that you're referencing, I think that the author of the article is an Eagles fan, so you can take everything with a grain of salt just from that sentence.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it defies any logic. I know we talk about this a lot on the show. The New York market is so big and so emotional that they don't have to praise anything. It doesn't really do anything if they do. Like Mike Greenberg said that, and no one even talked about the fact that he was talking. He was saying how the Giants have this and have that, and they could really kind of put it together and have a good season. Zero attention to it whatsoever. But this kid saying that leaving the Giants off of a list, including the Eagles on a list that they should have no business being on, it just goes to show that how that is. And I'll still maintain with a conspiracy of Las Vegas having control over this shit.
Yeah, I mean, but what does Vegas have to gain by putting? So, like you mentioned, right? New York is a huge market. We all know that. We all grew up in it. We know how it is. Listen. I don't know. I'm sure there's some crazy fucking poll out there that like could confirm and not confirm this, but I would think that New York. I get you're not allowed to. It's illegal, whatever. But like, I would think that this is a gambling hub, right? Like, it's definitely a team that gets bet on. There's definitely a lot of bets that go on. I mean, shit, we had like, one of the biggest, illegal gambling operations in this state, back in the day, right? Like, these are facts. So like, there's definitely a lot of gamblers in New York, right? So like, why would you want to even play with fire and put that shit out there where it's like, what are we at? Like 6 wins or 7 wins or some shit Vegas is putting us out for this season? Like, man, you got to go after that, bro. Like, they're still around like 6.5, 7-1 to win the division. Like, these are real numbers that you can hit on. Like, these aren't like far-fetched bets where you're like, oh man, I'm gonna put like $20 on it because it's gonna win me like 40,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a real deal bet. You throw fucking $100 on this shit and see what happens. You know what I mean? Get 7-1 odds and fuck it. Make yourself $1,000 in January right after the holidays to help pay for some of the gifts and credit card bills that you have.
Fun fact: in New York, we still not allowed to legally gamble, like either on FanDuel or DraftKings. But the reason why is because there's crime families based in New York, and there's so much undercover money that exchanging hands that they are not ever gonna legalize in New York, man. No fucking way.
Listen, bro, if I
The
could
right
walk
guy's gonna
around on
have
the
to
street
pay a
right
lot of
now and I
money.
see these dudes twisting blunts and smoking in my fucking face all the time, and that shit's fine now, right? Like you could be out in them outdoor bars and you could be smoking weed, dude, in fucking New York City. Yo, it's gonna happen. You know what? You know what they may end up doing, though. I'll tell you, Mike. This is what I'm gonna kind of like leave on that topic. But like, maybe you're right. Maybe not in the boroughs, right? In New York City, they might not be able to pull it off. Maybe they'll have to move that shit up the line a little bit. But yo, you could bet your ass, man, in the higher parts of this state at some point, something's gonna get some kind of legal book activity. There's a resi that has a casino on it all the way upstate bumblefuck New York, like upstate New York, not Buffalo, guys, upstate New York, near the border of Canada and shit. You'd be across from New Hampshire if you went east, right? Fuck it. Actually, sorry, Maine. But they have a sports book up there already. You know what I mean? So like those kind of places, I could see that shit the northern part of New York, north of Albany and shit, where like it's not the city, it's not as congested and all that kind of shit where it'll draw you up there. Like you got like the Turning Stone in Syracuse, another casino up that way. I can see shit like that happening. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, look, as it is now, dude, all you got to do is just jump on the fucking ferry and go to Jersey. You know what I mean? Like, if it costs you like $4, you
Or
go
call
to Jersey for man, you come right back to New York City. You can even drink on that shit. You BYOB and be right back.
Yeah, you call a friend up too. Who lives in Jersey, put a bet in for you. But the conspiracy, I mean, is more just kind of like, creating narratives and swaying public perception and driving money other places that are very unlikely to hit. So if you had the opportunity to kind of keep the, like that ball in the cup game they do at Yankee Stadium, like that hidden ball game.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the hats.
Yep.
All right. So imagine having an invisible ball that you can kind of create a cloak around it. They can't see where the ball is. That's kind of the same thing with the Giants. If they can, this team can build under kind of without the, the public perception being, oh, Kenny Galladay, oh, Saquon Barkley, and it's Daniel Jones and it's offensive line and Joe Judge is a clown and all that stuff. You're not going to have confidence. There's no one on the outside who's not really doing homework on the team is going to have any kind of confidence in it. So they'll say, okay, well, it's definitely not going to be the Giants, so it's definitely going to be Washington. It's definitely going to be Dallas and drive the money there. Meanwhile, they know that there's a fucking transformer under the cup, let alone a fucking ping pong ball. And all of a sudden, the Giants come out, win the division, and then all the money that was put on Washington and Dallas and like this fucking idiot with Philly, all that money gets to stay in Vegas. So that's what I'm saying as far as the conspiracy is concerned.
Listen, I'll just tell you real quick with that. Right? I heard, a long time ago, when it was a lot less easy to get bets out, especially in the sports world, that these bookmakers, these casinos, these whatever reservations and all the shit that does these gambling things, they want, like, if there's like, say, 10,000 people betting on an event, they want 5,000 to win or 5,000 to lose because they're gonna make money on that vig. You know what I mean? And literally that they would much rather do it if it's inside the casino that the bet's going on. Well, then they're coming in, you're getting your money, and some people coming out. And guess what, Mike, right? You could probably, imagine you walk in, you got $5,000 in your hand in a casino. You're going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go right home. Like, I got my $5,000. I won. It's good. No. Who cares that motherfucking ticket out? You're hitting a blackjack table. You're hitting a craps table. You're going to one of the restaurants. You're going to go to the bar. Like, you're spending some of that shit.
It's a party up in here. You fucking spending that dough, man. You're having a fucking great night. Bro,
listen, I've always said if I hit one of these bets, and I'm saying even a number like that, $5,000, which is, look, it's not a ton of money, but it's not, it's not chump change either, right?
Nah.
And let's say I did that shit in Vegas, bro. I mean, it was down in Atlantic City. Man, I would be fucking taking a limo down there for like $500. Renting like a sweet shit to the night, like $1,500. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna spend at least half that shit being like a dick. You know what I'm saying? That's $5,000. Like, that's not even a lot.
I won at Borgata one time. I won like a little over 10,000, right?
Wow.
It was,
nice.
yeah, it was a night to fucking remember, man.
You mean
I-
you won 9,999?
I left there owing them like a couple dollars. You know what I mean?
No.
It was mayhem. Like it was just
Oh,
like I
yeah.
was going in high roller dens. I was eating like I had steak at like 7, then I had another steak at like fucking midnight. Like I was fucking living fucking large, man. It was just like I was
Talk
hitting the
about
buffet.
stress.
Yeah, it was just out of control, man. The drinks were flowing, bar hopping, hitting the club with a fucking like a bottle for fucking like 350 or some shit. Like that was it, man. That was the highlight going to Borgata. And every other time I'm there, it's just like we just drink in the room. It's a fucking broke. So it means this, the moral of the story is keep your fucking money in your fucking pants.
oh, listen, and you know, there was some doppelganger Mike out there that literally lost the 10 grand that weekend, right? And he was miserable, and he was eating like fucking McDonald's, like value meals and shit.
Wasn't me.
5.99, 22-ounce beers and shit. You know what I mean? Miserable as
guy.
fuck, kicking the can down the street, sleeping on the beach and shit. You know what I mean? Yo,
Poor
the moral of the
stuff.
story is when we tell you to take a shot on some of these bets, you should listen. Or if you're like some of our friends that just want to hate on us all the time, just go opposite. You know what? And then we're doing exactly what the bookies want us to do.
Right. That's it.
Or you can call us up and hit us up on the DM, and you can like hit us directly, and maybe we'll arrange some of this shit. Look, anybody wants to give me 7-1 odds that the Giants are going to win the division, come hit me up, okay? Hit us up on the BBO NYG podcast on Twitter, all right? At BBO NYG, all right? Because listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, anytime, come find us for bets, come find us for fantasy shit, whatever. We're all about it. But you know what, guys? I think we're gonna wrap this one up. We're definitely gonna be back the following week, right? So that's gonna be the week of the what is that? The 20. Sorry. I thought I had that date in my head. I apologize. But that is going to be the 20th.
It's the week of the 19th, that Monday,
Yeah,
Tuesday.
the week of the 19th, we will be back. That's the start of mini camp, right? If I'm not mistaken, guys.
The following week is the start of mini camp, like that next week is.
Perfect.
So we'll have an episode out a week before training camp, and then a week of training camp. And then from there, boys, it is straight through to fucking Super Bowl Sunday.
I mean, look, and then it's August, and before you know it, you know, if you're doing those fantasy drafts, if you go to the preseason games, like I know a lot of ticket holders do, you know, the season's gonna be here before you know it. I mean, like literally, you know, you're talking the next couple of weeks here in July, and it's August, and once August comes, I feel like August, like I fall asleep, and all of a sudden it's September 1st. You know, you know what I mean? Like August ends up flying by with everybody being like, "Oh my God, end of the summer, last minute barbecues, preseason football, drafts, end of baseball, all this shit." It's always just a quick month, so we'll be live for that whole month. Hopefully, have some really cool guests on for you as well in the upcoming weeks for sure. But yeah, man, we're gonna wrap this up. You know where to find us, Mike Trainer at MFT, right? On Twitter, the NYG Slap Parade, myself, Jules NYC1, and of course the podcast, which is BBO NYG. Everything on Twitter. We're going to start putting up some links to get to the Facebook and even to the podcast as well. But definitely look out for that. And we will be back in 2 weeks. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Later.